So my name's Todd Bergman. I'm with Interwest Distribution, and today I'm going to be demoing heat shrink techniques for Crystalline automotive window film. The unique thing about Crystalline, generally what I have here, I've got it laid out like a typical dry shrink, in the sense I just have my H pattern laid out and my film locked down with my uprights, my H, and my cross. I did put some tape here just to kind of show you. You don't have to use this method, but it helps hold this down because we're going to be doing a floating heat shrink method where we're actually going to be blowing air from the underside. So as long as you're holding the film down and sealing that edge and making sure you don't get any horizontal fingers, that's pretty much any technique's going to work well that way. So the tape just kind of helps hold it in place. If I need to, I can readjust it or anything. The other thing is the heat gun. A lot of the heat guns out there, they don't give adequate airflow, and so if you're using just like a Wagner's paint stripping gun, you want something that actually has some more CFM movement and volume as far as airflow. So this is a Porter Cable one that I found at Lowe's. Works very, very well. I think it was around $39. I've had it for probably about a year now, and probably one of the best heat guns for the money that I've actually had. So I always have it cranked up to high. It's got two settings, and I'm just going to use it on the high setting as far as airflow goes. But what I'm going to actually start doing when I shrink it, I'm going to actually start blowing my hot air underneath the film, starting to collapse the film, opposite of kind of what most people are traditionally doing, you know, with the dry shrink technique and trying to shrink your fingers down, breaking them up. And then once I start to see the film kind of react to the heat, I'm going to come back up, pretty much kind of close this top as much as possible, trapping that warm air under there, and then basically any other vertical fingers applying heat on the top, so you're getting even warmth, top and bottom, heating the film. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start applying my heat from the underside, just getting that airflow going underneath the film. You're going to start to see the film, you know, kind of reacting, starting to tighten up down towards the bottom. Those are kind of the visual cues that you want to be looking for, that your film is kind of ready and starting to lay down. And then from there, I'm just going to go ahead, kind of give it just a gentle kind of pull down, kind of sealing where my final cut's going to be. Now that that's nice and tight, I can go ahead, warm the rest of the film, letting that pocket and those fingers tighten up. And at this point in time, I can go ahead, take my heat off. Okay? The important thing is too, before you card it, a lot of people want to card the film right away. The film's still warm, and you have those multiple 200 plus layers of the film that have adhesive between each entire layer. So what we want to do is just let it cool, wait about 5 seconds, and then I can go ahead and smooth it out, felt block it, or hard card it. So at this point, you can go ahead and just start hand smoothing it down a little bit. I'm going to follow it down with my felt block. Just evacuating the rest of the air, seeing that it's molded, fitting right. I'm going to move on to my other quadrant on this side and then go to the other side. I will add that I did use some dryer sheets on the glass beforehand just to give it a little slip agent, basically before I did my H pattern. But other than that, that's the only thing different that we utilize when we shrink crystalline. Moving to the top, you can see generally most of your curvature, whether it's back glass or windshield, you're going to end up with, you know, a majority of your fingers or larger fingers out towards your corners, your top corners. So on this, when I start doing it, I'll probably undo the tape, still blow my hot air from the underside, warming the film, but then I'm going to start focusing a little more and shrinking this area a little more evenly, just so I can disperse some of that tension, so I don't end up with a big peak finger out towards the top corner. You can also break some of that tension out to the center, but it's a combination of both. Okay, so same process. I'm going to go ahead and start blowing from the underside of the film. I'm just going to go ahead right now and kind of take this tape off. And I'm just going to hold that corner tight, kind of just watching. I still don't want any fingers to pick out to my sides. Start warming that film. You start to see the top starting to collapse a little bit. Now I'm going to come back here, kind of start dispersing some of this tension. Bring this up just a little more. Take some of that tension vertical, seal off my top edge. Okay. You don't have to feel like you have to get the whole entire pocket down in one swipe. You can still see once I take the heat off, the film's still basically tightening up and shrinking. So at this point in time, I can go ahead, start working that area up. So we're going to come back. Let it relax. And then you should be able to smooth out those horizontal ripples. Just use a little heat just along this top edge. There's a few little ripples left, but now you can see basically everything is formed on this side, and all I would do is go over to the other side, repeat the same process, and then go ahead and make my final cut, and it's ready to install.